It's Wednesday night.
And your theater barn
is live!
I see color for the first time. Finally, I can feel the sunshine. My heart's singing for the first time. Baby, is this love? I see color for the first time. Finally, I can feel the sunshine. My heart's singing for the first time. Is this love?
I feel like I danced to our theme. Do you?
Fancy meeting you here, Jen Sandler.
I never expected to see you here tonight, but here we are.
Here we are. Good evening and welcome to New York Theater Barn's New Work Series Live. I'm Joe Barros, the artistic director.
And I am Jen Sandler, the Associate Artistic Director. And tonight we are so excited to present excerpts from the new musicals Borderline and The Lucky Boy.
That's right. The Lucky Boy is the new musical from one of my favorite writers, Kirsten Childs, and Borderline is written by Benjamin Velez and Ariana Garber.
Yay. So welcome to the 13th season of our new work series and the 24th since March, which is absurd to me, installment of our virtual new work series. Since March, and with all of our virtual programming combined, we have presented 50 new musicals. That's this week, 50. We finally reached 50. Lifted up the work of 86 writers, made space for over 200. I say this every week, but that's the one I really can't get over. 200 artists, and partnered with Broadway On Demand. In fact, like every week, we are simulcasting tonight to Broadway On Demand.
That's right. And we're so grateful for our partnership with Broadway On Demand. We're also excited to announce that we launched Theater Barn Records this week. Theater Barn Records is a new imprint of Broadway records and is dedicated to original musicals in development.
That's right. Theater Barn Records will support writers in recording and releasing concept recordings of their new musicals in development on global streaming platforms. Theater Barn Records offers a worldwide marketing platform for musical theater writers and has the potential to create revenue for writers while their show is still in development. What a concept, right?
Yeah, and in collaboration with Broadway Records, Theater Barn released its first album, Willow, last Friday. Over the weekend, the album fluctuated on the iTunes soundtrack charts between number 5 and number 6 and has already recouped by 20%.
Willow has music and lyrics by 16-year-old Abigail Greenwood, who we have featured on our show already, and a book by 20-year-old Morgan Smith, and additional arrangements by 17-year-old Nala Palmer. They're all TikTok celebrities. I've never been on TikTok, so, but TikTok is a crazy phenomenon. Willow recounts 2 love stories of different generations that take place under the same magical willow tree, reminding us that love and magic can withstand anything.
That's right. And the musical Willow takes place in the Averno universe. Writer Morgan Smith created Averno, an immersive, interactive universe of interlocking musicals, comics, novels, and virtual reality centered around a single town in the South. Amidst the pandemic, the team expanded to include 60 other artists from 14 countries. Averno has exploded into an online phenomenon with over 100,000 followers across platforms. 2 more concept recordings from the Averno universe, Bitter Summer and Over and Out, will be released soon from Broadway Records. And the Averno creators are changing the game for the musical theater scene, and they are creating community in a time where we need it most.
Yes, they are. I'm truly in awe of them. What they've been able to make, and Willow is available wherever you can stream music.
Absolutely. We're very, very excited about Willow and Theater Barn Records. As an anti-racist nonprofit theater company that actively seeks out and curates important culture-shifting stories from communities we need to hear from, our team has been meeting to discuss ways for our organization to further develop anti-racist culture. Black Lives Matter.
Here to tell us more about the 2 charities we are supporting this month and how you can support New York Theater Barn is our casting director from Eisenberg Beans Casting, Daryl Eisenberg.
Hi, I'm Daryl Eisenberg, and I'm coming to you from my home in Watchung, New Jersey, where I'm a proud Borough Council member. I'm also a casting director and managing partner for Eisenberg Beans Casting, serving as New York Theater Barn's casting office for the past 3 years. Eisenberg Beans Casting is a bi-coastal casting office for theater, film, television, and new media, dedicated to creating a comfortable and safe space for actors to take risks and reimagine their potential in the progressive industry. With intent, our devotion to representation and inclusion in casting is stronger than ever. The New York Theater Barn family is excited about tonight's new culture-shifting musicals, The Lucky Boy and Borderline. We are proud to lift up the work of Kirsten Childs, Benjamin Velez, and Ariana Garber. New York Theater Barn is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and your gift tonight is tax deductible. A portion of this month's donations will go to support Black Theater United and the League of Women Voters in the United States. I'm proud to be a part of an organization that is fostering community and lifting up so many artists during this difficult time. Thank you for supporting live theater and the development of original musicals. Enjoy the show.
Thank you, Daryl. We are so thrilled to have you and Allie Beans on our team, and we are so proud to support Black Theater United and the League of Women Voters in the United States.
Yeah, we love you guys. So two of tonight's writers, Kirsten Childs and Benjamin Velez, are the recipients of the American Theater Wing's Jonathan Larson Grant. Each year, artists are chosen among hundreds of applicants who best embody Jonathan Larson's creative spirit and have the potential to take musical theater to new heights.
And now here's a video clip from the American Theater Wing about the Jonathan Larson Grant.
This is like probably the closest I've ever come to winning a supporting actress Oscar.
This grant is not only a humbling honor, but it's the best possible challenge, the best dare I've ever received. You're saying we believe in your potential. Now I dare you, I challenge you to make good work.
Jonathan sends messages for the future of generations to come, to keep going, to keep writing. And being here at this award ceremony with all of you to celebrate something hopeful, for me, is an act of justice.
This road is not an easy one, and days like this make the struggle feel really worth it.
So in this moment of only now and only here, we count our blessings and remember that it is not awards and accolades that define us or even our work. It is simply our humanity.
Love that video. I love the Wing. I'm a friend of the Wing. If you haven't already heard, the deadline for the Larson Grant this year was last Thursday, but it has now been extended to tomorrow at 11:59. I know, very specific, 11:59. So if you are any musical theater writer, you should apply for this. This is a great opportunity. And last week's New Work series featured the new musicals A Walk on the Moon, also by a Larson winner, Paul Scott Goodman, and We Live in Cairo. And here is a clip from last week's presentation of A Walk on the Moon. Take a look.
Somebody crack that mirror. That woman isn't me. Somebody slam that door and throw away the key. She better snap awake. She's making a big mistake.
I spent all my summer in the Catskills at these bungalow colonies, and there were two inspirations. One was that so many people didn't know about the bungalow colony world. So I wanted to show that world, and I had a very distinct memory, which I think is the fulcrum of our show. I was in the swimming pool with the bubbies playing mahjong and the moms playing cards, and through the chain link fence, I saw the hippies walking to the Woodstock Festival. And I wanted to throw myself through that fence. I was literally on the wrong side of history.
I need a cigarette, which I need 3 or 4. A voice keeps whispering no, a voice keeps shouting more. First I'm boiling hot, then I'm freezing cold. First I'm a woman, then I'm 17 years old.
She's got a teenage daughter living in the summer of '69 who is part of, in her mind, the revolution. And here's this working class Jewish housewife who is separated from that world completely. And gradually, through the influence, she wants to get on the other side of the fence.
Woodstock's calling out to me. A couple more miles and I'll be free. I feel a part of me might die if I don't try to touch the sky.
So right when COVID happened, we were scheduled to do an actual recording session with Jackie, and we got shut down. So a few weeks after COVID started, several of my musician friends just kind of volunteered their time and sent me, tracks of themselves playing, and I put it together just so our entire team at George Street could sort of hear what the show was going to sound like.
It's about love and about music and about change, about turmoil, all the things that we're thinking about now, I think we were thinking about then.
I loved taking Paul's song and then being inspired by like Jefferson Airplane or Paul Butterfield and the Byrds and Crosby, Stills and Nash and Young. And so I've been working with Dylan and taking all these songs and say, how do they fit into this period?
History not only repeats itself, but as activists, we just have to keep on being active. And the world will catch up with us one day. Yes, it's about a Jewish woman in the bungalow colonies on the other side of the fence. And it's also about what's happening now.
Look at my life, I'm reeling. Listen to my heartbeat. I just can't seem to keep the ground beneath my feet.
For the record, I watched Joe jam out to Jackie Byrne singing the entire time that recap was running. So that's a thing.
Jackie Burns is my spirit animal. I've been singing those songs all week.
I mean, she's everyone's. Come on.
Right. Well, and here's a clip from last week's presentation of We Live in Cairo, which is explores the 2011 Egyptian Revolution and is written by the Lazors. Take a look.
I don't know the lights. I don't know the angles. I don't know the meaning. The shutter closes, then I look at my screen. On right, a tent. On left, 2 men holding hands. 6 soldiers center at a frame of brawl. I'll never capture it all. I'll never capture it all.
We were inspired by a photo, actually, that was taken by a photojournalist, Ed O. Of the New York Times. That photo really, I think, was the impetus for the entire show. Learning about the revolution, learning more about the region was something really important to us, even resulting in us going to Egypt and doing a reading with students at the university in Cairo. We all experience that when we're swept up in something, especially political movements, like when there aren't millions in the street, what's going on, right? The ensemble happens upon online a photo of a student, Khaled Saeed, who was beaten to death by police. The image that was released from his autopsy, in many ways, was sort of the spark to the protests. It feels like you can't do anything. You have no power underneath everything above you, but maybe you do.
There's a choice between the shit they feed us and the food for my life, for my soul, for my time, for my land, for the love of my home, for the love of my home, for the love of my home, for the love of my home. I I can see them. I can see deep within. I can hear them when they say there's no wind of change, but I can flap my wings.
A really special piece of theater that I first got to see at the NAMP Festival.
And you were part of choosing it for the NAMP Festival, right?
Absolutely right. Yeah. Well, now let's get started. Our first musical tonight is Borderline, which has a book by Ariana Garber and music and lyrics by Benjamin Velez.
Borderline is a musical dramedy about a girl living with borderline personality disorder and struggling for normalcy amidst a revolving door of therapists, medications, and dysfunctional relationships. This deeply personal story explores the highs and lows, heartache, and absurdity of living on the borderline.
And now joining us from 2 different continents are the writers and director of Borderline, Benjamin Velez, Ariana Garber, and Sarna Lapine.
Hi, everyone. I saw Benjamin smirk when we said 2 continents. So tell everyone where you are, Benjamin, why we're in 2 continents.
I am currently in Heidelberg, Germany. My husband works at the university here, and I figured why not spend a few months overseas, except for things like this where it's 1:16 a.m. But it's great.
All for the love of theater.
Yeah, of course.
Well, we are certainly excited about this new musical. Borderline personality disorder seems like quite an untold story on the stage, but musical theater seems like a fitting medium to examine such a story. So tell us what inspired you to write a musical about borderline personality and this story in particular.
Well, a lot of the experience were based on my past experiences. And I wrote a thesis for my master's degree on this exact thing, on borderline personality disorder. And one of the things that I thought I was missing was a way for the audience to connect and to really understand what's going on in such a complicated sort of lifestyle. And it kind of dawned upon me that I was like, I need this to be a musical. It has to be a musical. It has to sort of have that music to allow the invitation for people to come in and to understand what's going on and to really be invited into this world with the music that Benjamin so beautifully wrote. But so it was sort of born out of an existing screenplay that existed and needed to be sort of pushed to the next level in order for it to really take off and really be able to tell the story that I wanted it to tell.
And Ariana and I were actually introduced by a college friend. We went to the same college, but we didn't know each other there. And it wasn't until many, many years later that we got introduced. And I had actually never even heard, like I had heard about borderline personality disorder, but I couldn't tell you what it was when I first met Ariana. And just hearing her talk about it and her own experiences with it I immediately just felt the need to start writing songs. And the first draft that we churned out of this, it was within like 2 months of meeting. It was very, very fast. I mean, it mostly has changed since then.
And Sarna, how did you come to be a part of this team?
Benjamin, maybe you should start that.
Well, I was lucky enough to be roommates with Sarna way back when, and so we've been friends for a long time. And this just felt like a show I had to show Sarna. And Ariana and I actually first met with Sarna that fall that we started working on it, and we loved the way she talked about it and had a lot of amazing ideas, and we kind of we got an opportunity at the Weston Playhouse and we were able to work on it, and then kind of a year or two later, I don't remember exactly, we got the opportunity with a producer on board to finally put a team together, and we wanted Sarna, and Sarna was still really excited about the piece, and it just really worked out that we were able to all come together on it.
And I can just add that, of course, I have known and adore Benjamin and always have thought he's extraordinarily talented, and was so impressed by Ariana, who's just a brilliant person and writer, and incredibly brave for delving so deeply into something that a lot of people don't know very much about. I had a very, very good friend my freshman year of college who I learned was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. And so as a freshman in college, I ended up doing a lot of research on the diagnosis and trying to learn how to support her. And about a decade after that, had a work colleague who also told me she had been diagnosed with it. And my experience of the two women that I knew who had it were that they were incredibly intelligent. I mean, just sort of had a way of seeing the world that was kind of electrifying, and there was a cost to that. And I was really interested in it and very empathetic towards it, and was immediately engaged with how Benjamin and Ariana wanted to portray the subject matter.
Wow. And your development of the show, you go first, Benjamin.
I was just going to say, I liked that what Joe said about how it's not something that he's seen on the stage before, because I feel like it's easy to loop all mental illness stories into the same bucket. Like Next to Normal deals with bipolar, and Evan Hansen, he's also dealing with mental health issues. But borderline is its own unique thing, and I think one of the things we want to try to do with this show is help people understand how it's different than those others and unique, and people who have borderline a lot of times don't seek help for it, and that's something we want to help people feel like they shouldn't be ashamed of it, and they should get the help, because a lot of people can be really benefited by that help. Absolutely.
And I think, we've talked about this. There's been a lot of shows during this pandemic about mental health, and it's something that has had such a stigma. And I'm sorry, I'm in Hell's Kitchen and there's a whole fire situation, I guess. But there shouldn't be a stigma against talking about this. And sometimes singing about it and talking about it in spoken word, like you do in theater, makes people unafraid to then get help. And I think that's so special and important.
Well, that's what attracted me immediately to Ariana. She's very self-deprecating, and her comedy is sharp and on point. And I didn't want to tackle this story unless there was a strong comedic element to it. And I think that the way Ariana has activated the characters, and especially the main character of Anna, comedically, it was really exciting for me too.
So I think let's talk about our first song, unless Joe, you had something else to say.
Oh, I was just going to say your first song is the title song.
Read each other's mind.
Pressure. Yeah, I'm happy to set this up unless one.
Yeah, we would love for you to.
So this is the end of Act 1. Anna, in the beginning of the show, Anna has not yet been diagnosed with borderline, and she has an incident, a run-in with the law, where she's assigned a new therapist to see in order to try to avoid going to prison. And she begins sessions with this doctor, and by the end of the act, the doctor, at Anna's request, tells her that she has borderline personality disorder, that it's very hard to give diagnoses because it comes with a lot of strings and it's not an exact science. And Anna kind of rejects it and zones out of that moment. And this song is her kind of dealing with finally having a name for all the feelings that she's had up until then, her whole life.
And this is being sung by the amazing Michaela Diamond from The Cher Show.
Truly amazing, yes.
Truly amazing. So here is Borderline.
There's a girl I see in the mirror. I touch her face and my finger traces her eye. There's a line between me and her. Sometimes that line's a blur, and I don't know who I am, who I am. I wish it was clear. Am I there? Am I here? One of us is sick and one is fine. But where's the line? on the borderline. Ah, do you think I'm crazy? Ah, are you in my head? Why do these pills all make me feel like I'm fine when I'm stuck on the borderline? Cold sweat, bad dream, back from Wonderland. Fall down, fall up, they don't understand. One cut, just one, just to let it out slowly. Helpless, stop, you can fight it, just try it, just try. Do you see me bleeding? Is it in my head? Why am I always feeling stuck between sick and fine, stuck on the borderline? Am I neurotic, psychotic, or am I in between? Am I depressed or suicidal, or am I in between? Am I insane or just dramatic, or am I in between? In between fake and real, in between think and feel, in between stop and go, yes and no, high and low. Do you think I'm crazy? Are you in my head? Why do these pills all make me feel like I'm fine when I'm trapped on the I will not be crazy. No, it's in your head. I don't need pills to make me feel like I'm fine. Free from the borderline. Free from the borderline.
Wow. I have no words.
Oh, stop. You've seen it.
Well, that was really awesome. We're eager to hear the next song, which is Land of Lost and Found. Tell us a little bit about that.
But before we talk about that, we haven't talked about the development of the show, and I know you have. Joe's like, ha. I know you have development of the show, and we'd love to hear about it.
Absolutely. I feel like I'm talking too much. Do one of you want to take the ball, or should I?
All yours.
Well, we're lucky to have a wonderful producer, Josh Goodman, who is helping us develop the show. And we have a wonderful music director, David Gardos. And Josh has been putting together a team for, we were supposed to do a developmental workshop this fall, and we're trying to find a home for it. I think we all decided that in-person development is a lot easier for a musical. So we're going to attempt a table read of a new draft this fall and try for an in-person workshop in the spring. But we're super excited. Just being able to work during this time with Sarna on the dramaturgy of it all. Ariana and I have done a new version that we're really excited to hear out loud. And yeah, I'm super excited that we've been able to keep the ball rolling during all this.
And Ben presented the songs he just wrote.
Sarna, do you want to maybe take your headphones out because we're having some difficulty hearing you?
I think can you hear
Still
me now?
sound.
You sound like a not a leprechaun. What's gremlin? Is it a gremlin?
I was gonna say a robot, but a leprechaun sounds more fun.
Let's see if I can put this.
The joys of live theater on the digital web.
It was actually more like Gollum.
Comment on the chat if you want to guess how you thought she sounded.
Hello?
Yes, you sound much better now.
I can't hear you guys.
You can't hear us? Well, I guess I could explain the next song and
Yeah, let's explain the next song, and then we'd love to hear from Sarna more about the dramaturgy of the show.
I can't hear anything.
We can hear you if you want to speak.
I can't hear you all. Oh, okay. Well, this is awkward. I'm sorry, I can't hear any of you. So Ben, just wave when I've said enough.
Okay.
I think we've used our time well since April, just working through the text and the music really carefully together, and just continuing to find the balance of dramedy, which is always a unique thing to explore on stage. And I think developing the characters, primarily Ariana and her father, John, I think that's taken a lot of time to develop. And I also think the character of both Dana and Dr. Brenner and their friendship and their relationship as colleagues has also really grown as we've pursued this. And I just think it's great to use the concentrated time we have to talk about the language and the characters in such deep detail. And it's going to be wonderful to hear actors have the chance to read it and hear all this work come to fruition very soon.
And I think just going on what Sarna was saying about language, I think mental health in general, they're so hard to find the language to describe the conditions and the illnesses and sort of how people can describe their own emotions about it. And so part of working with Sarna on this was really finding that language that allowed our characters to come through and to understand what they're going through in a way that's communicable to the audience and to people listening to them.
Absolutely. So to set up the next song. So one aspect we haven't talked about with Anna is that she's an artist, and a lot of her expression comes through in her art, but she hasn't, she's kind of had a series of dead-end jobs, and she's been put under pressure by her dad to find a way to support herself, and the art isn't something she's been able to take seriously. But as you saw in the Borderline Act 1 finale, she decides she's going to reject that diagnosis, and she's going to stop taking the pills that her doctor has prescribed for her. And in Act 2, she at first there's like a high, a manic high from the beginning of going off the meds, but then she kind of begins to spiral and eventually reaches a state of dissociation, and she stops going to her therapist. And this song is sung from the point of view of her therapist, Dr. Brenner, who is very concerned, and she actually does something which is non-traditional. She went to the house to see if Anna's okay, and she has a fight with Anna's dad. And this song, it kind of is Dr. Brenner, in non-literal terms, kind of singing about Anna's state of being lost right now, as Anna's gotten lost in her painting, and to try to represent the state of mind that Anna's in. Her bedroom has kind of grown into this cathedral-like space where her art is all over, and you'll hear talk of blood in the song, but it's referencing this red paint that Anna is using. So I think that.
And who is singing the song?
Brianna Marie Parnham. She is wonderful, and she's playing Dr. Brenner, who is Anna's therapist, doctor.
Here it is.
There's a girl who lives alone in the shadows of her mind. Next to dreams she's thrown away, next to doubts she's left behind. And she hums a little song, just a whisper of a sound, in the land of lost and found. She was scared to be herself, she was scared of what she'd see. So she's hiding in the dark, and she's thrown away the key. If you travel there, beware, There's no way to turn around from the land of lost and found. She's been waiting for a while for a person to appear. She's been lonely in the dark where each minute lasts a year. While she waits, she hums her song, just a whisper of a sound in the land of lost and found. In her loneliness she cries, and her tears as red as blood, as they stream across her face and they sink into the mud. Soon she stands inside a pool and can barely see the ground. She'll be lost if she's not found. And the pool of red begins to spread. The tide is turning and the waves are churning as the melody she hums rapidly becomes a symphony of sorrow, crashing as it surges, reaching a crescendo. Where's the savior she awaits? Better hurry if you're him, as the ocean's on the rise and she never learned to swim. You must try and grab her hand, save her life before she's drowned. As she sinks beneath the waves to be buried down below, someone reaches out a hand. Should she grab it or let go? Could there really be a light in the darkness that surrounds? Will the girl be lost or found?
Ooh.
So good.
I want to make sure I stress that despite the two songs you heard from the show, it is chock full of comedic songs as well.
It's true.
But we felt like these two were good ones for this. But we're so I know you have to move on to the next show, but we feel so lucky to have been a part of this.
Yeah, really great.
We're so lucky to have you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, I feel like we want to end. What are you most excited about with your show as the theater community comes back? You know, why do we think your show is important right now? We touched on that a little.
Well, I think it deals with a sense of isolation that can come when one is struggling with mental illness or struggling with something that makes them feel that they can't quite embed themselves in society the way they perceive other people doing it. And so to come out of this forced period of isolation, I think many people are going to have a way to relate to this character in a much more instant fashion. And it's also about art, that how you live in the world and what makes you different can also make you profoundly unique and spectacular, and how to balance the struggle with the payoff of having a unique mind.
I mean, if our comments are any indication right now, people are just gelling with this show so much. If someone says the show has got to get to Broadway, we agree.
I love this comment. It's so fun.
Well, thank you all so much. I know Ariana has somewhere to be. Benjamin has to get back to his life in Germany, and we get to see Sarna again next week.
I'll be here till next week. So thank you both so much for everything you're doing. It's
Yes.
Thank you.
No, seriously, watching all the videos that came before us, it's amazing how the work that you're promoting and how much that you're showcasing. So
Thank
seriously.
you. That means a lot to us. Thank you. We'll see you guys soon.
All right.
Bye.
And now on to the second half of our presentation, the new musical, The Lucky Boy, which has book, music, and lyrics by Kirsten Childs.
The Lucky Boy is a satirical one-act musical which examines what happens when a country is held hostage by a tyrant's rule? Cruel King Ambrose kills citizens who don't proclaim him adorable. When it's predicted that an illegal alien baby named Lucky will grow up to surpass him in adorability, Ambrose throws the child into a nuclear waste bin. 18 years later, Ambrose discovers Lucky's still alive and hella adorable.
This sounds not at all like what I was watching on TV last night.
Not at all.
Not at all. And now joining us from her home is the author of The Lucky Boy, Kirsten Childs.
Hello. How are you?
We're so excited to have you here with us tonight.
Well, I am thrilled to be here. What I just experienced with the Borderline musical, how incredible is that? How fantastic was that? So I'm thrilled to be here to be part of this evening.
And Benjamin is one of the newest Larson winners, and you were one of the first. So I think that's pretty cool.
Right. There you go. Cycles. There's a cycle. There you go.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, you are definitely one of my favorite writers. And your body of work has a real depth and range to it with themes of fantasy, folklore, oral tradition. And this is one of your newest projects. I'm also a big fan of your musical, The Bubbly Black Girl Sheds Her Chameleon Skin, which played Playwrights Horizons in 2000, and City Center Encores in a fantastic 2017 presentation. It's a semi-biographical work. I also, the year I moved to New York, I was lucky enough to see a musical at the Vineyard, Miracle Brothers, which is about half brothers, one black, one white, one a slave, and one who's freed, Fernando and Green Eyes. And you set the show in 17th century Brazil, and you took this incredible tradition in their stories about your characters were dolphins who transformed into humans for sport to tell their stories. So again, like I said, the scope and range of your work is just incredible. You, when I first heard the song "Yeah" that we're going to present tonight, I said, "Oh my God, that's so Kirsten Childs. That so reminds me of her."
Wow, that's a nice thing to hear. You actually have a voice. That's really great. Thank you.
You hear Miracle Brothers, it has a different feel and sound with this rich samba-infused score. And I remember there's a fantastic song in that show called Mundo Pariso, which I really love and stuck with me. And of course, Funked Up Fairy Tales is another fantastic show of yours. And I won't read your resume
And
anymore.
we can't forget Bella. Bella is also, I'm a former Playwrights Horizons employee, and Bella is also a great show. We love Bella.
And of course, Bella.
Well,
So
now
what-
that we've given your entire resume,
you to tell the story of this musical of The Lucky Boy.
Yeah, so basically, you had sort of told a lot of what happens in the tale. Basically, the king is, a mess and needs to be validated and actually told that he is the most adorable person in the world, and it's foretold that there's a baby that is going to become more adorable than him. So he just cannot have that happen. So he takes the baby, goes to a nuclear site and throws the baby into a toxic waste dumpster. But there are these scientists, as luck would have it, who have been conducting experiments, and they have put heavy water in this particular waste dumpster. And they have bombarded it with particles of adorabilium in an attempt to counter toxic nuclear toxicity in human DNA cells. So as a result of this, since the baby is in that dumpster with the heavy water and the adorabilium bombardment, he is now not only immune to radiation poisoning, but he is 10 times more adorable than the king. So fade in, fade out. 18 years later, and a lucky boy, whose name's Lucky, ironically, happens to meet up with the daughter of the king, this beautiful young girl who is her, and they're announcing her now. She is Her Royal Highness Princess Vocal Fry. And so the lucky boy and Princess Vocal Fry fall madly in love. The king actually, though, realizes that Lucky is that baby that he tried to get rid of. And so he tries to get rid of him again by saying, hey, if you want to marry my daughter, you have to go and get 3 golden hairs from the devil's head, which is an impossible task because the devil brutally murders everybody who tries to get his hair, as devils are wont to do. Will Lucky actually be able to get these hairs? Will true love prevail, or will the king's nefarious plot work? You have to come and see the story. You have to come to watch the musical. And so that's the story of the Lucky Boy.
Well, I have to ask, how were you writing this show long before the big election 4 years ago? Because so much of he who will not be named that was screaming on our TVs last night, there seems like little snippets of him in the show.
Well, here's the thing. Fairy tales are really primal things, and this is based on a fairy tale. And it's, they're stories about the way that we recognize our humanity in these very broad strokes. And they also are things where, right prevails, good prevails. And so, they are a yardstick by which we can, examine our souls. And so during that 2016, I was sort of struggling with sort of powerlessness, I felt. And so I thought, maybe I will try to deal with this in a way that not only brings me less stress, but brings me joy and makes me crack up. So yes, I would say you're about right on when I started to create this story.
Well, speaking of creation of the show, we're going to bring on John Simkins and Jennifer Peacock to talk more about the development. Yay.
Yes, please. They have been so crucial to this.
So somebody just said that this reminded them of the Toxic Avenger. I'm getting down Toxic Avenger Into the Woods had a baby with Kirsten Childs outside of the box feel.
So tell us how. You finish, Kirsten.
I'll just say that John Simmons has this amazing program at Penn State that commissions living artists to work with their musical theater students. And these students are amazing, as you will see tonight. And he invited me to craft a musical around these students, and it was really fun to do so. And I'll let you talk, John.
Yeah, John, tell us more about this program and how Kirsten came to be a part of it.
Of course. Well, thanks, Joe and Jen, for having us. And like you, Joe, I've been a huge Kirsten Childs fan for many years. And so we have a commissioning program. We call it our New Musicals Initiative. And what we do is we invite a writer or writing team that we're commissioning out to campus. We don't want to talk about any ideas for shows until they have a chance to meet a very specific group of young people, the artists for whom they're going to be writing. And so that Kirsten came out and met the third-year students. And the way that it works is we put the writers and the students together. We want the writers to hear what are on the minds of our young artist students as they're kind of deep in the midst of their training. And we want our students to connect with these incredible writers that are writing right now for the American musical. So then after a few days, the writers go back to New York and we start talking with the writer about what they might want to work on. And so for Kirsten, she very quickly had this idea to adapt the fairy tale, or to turn this fairy tale, the Devil with the Three Golden Hairs, into a musical called The Lucky Boy. And what I love so much about what she did with it is I feel like Kirsten is joyfully and lovingly taking our country and our culture and our society to task, but she's doing it in a way that we can laugh along with it until we realize the point that she's making. And then hopefully we're horrified into the action that we all want to take. So if that, as far as I'm concerned, if that doesn't line up with this generation of young artists, what does? I mean, these are the young people in college that are going to go out and change the world and do the things that we couldn't figure out how to do. And it's our job to give them material that speaks to now and speaks to them. And so that's kind of the underpinnings of the the commission. And so then Kirsten writes a draft, and we spend the majority of the senior year, the fourth year for these students, working with the writer, and they drop in on us, and we do a concert at 54 Below mid-year, and then a big reading on campus. And the way that we sort of engage with these writers is that if that all goes well, we can throw it into the season planning process at Penn State and perhaps produce it, and then maybe even walk it out into the world as a partner in a professional production. So it's been a wonderful series, and Kirsten, it's been particularly exciting for me after having sort of watched her and been a huge fan of hers. To get a chance to work with her has been truly wonderful and a dream.
I love that.
Right.
And Jennifer, you are all things music on the show. What has it been like? And Kirsten, I know I cut you off. I'm sorry. Jennifer, what has it been like working with Kirsten on the music?
A total dream. She's the most wonderful, open, collaborative writer to work with ever, and it's fun. Her music she has a voice throughout the whole play, but each song has its own distinct style and character too, but it all still feels like Kirsten. We just have the best time, and I feel like I have she lets me just run loose with stuff and tells me what she likes and what she doesn't like, and
this woman has such taste. She is brilliant, and you all are going to know so much more about her. She is amazing. Let me say that. All right, I'll be quiet now. Go ahead, Jennifer.
So let's talk about our first song. We have the amazing Jasmine Forsberg here tonight.
Okay, so this song is called All for a Taste of Liberty, and it is sung by the mother of the lucky boy. When the lucky boy is just a newborn babe, her name is Alma Staza, and she is fleeing a war-torn country, coming to the kingdom of King Ambrose, who's this tyrant, for a better life. And so she's gone over to the Immigration Bureau, but unfortunately at the Immigration Bureau, they're a little xenophobic, so they call the deportation squad on her. And unfortunately, she's going to be kicked out of the country, but as there is a kind soul at the Immigration Bureau who actually supplies citizenship papers to the baby. So at the beginning of this song, you're going to hear Amastaza sort of pleading with the Bureau. And by the end, you know that she's getting ready to get kicked out, and she's basically saying goodbye to her child. And it is going to be performed by the incredible Jasmine Forsberg, who originated the role when it was done at Penn State, the original production. So you're going to have hopefully you'll love her. Hopefully you'll love the song, All for a Taste of Liberty.
Here she is.
Stole across the border in the dead of the night, running away from a land set on fire, running away from the hate of a hate-filled mob, running and hiding and silently praying that no one will catch me, that I will be staying here under the radar with my low-paying job. All for a taste of liberty, all for something more than poverty and misery and endless war. Endless war, endless war. Saving every penny, skimping on meals, no time for sickness, can't pay the doctor. Learning a new language, the grammar is driving me wild. But I'm gonna learn it, to grovel, to beg, to tell you I'll pay you an arm and a leg, to make sure that I secure freedom for my child, my child, my child. And so this is the gift that I give you, my child. Do not spend your life looking over your shoulder, to deal with it all standing tall, both feet on the ground, to be safe in a place far away from war's drama, and if that means you can't stay with your mama, what you ever lost can't compare to what you found. Savor the taste of liberty. It is nothing less than hope and opportunity for happiness,
Woo!
Taking everyone slowly off mute.
Thank you, everyone.
Yay.
Wonderful,
All your fans are freaking out on the chat.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Someone said Jasmine never rests. Someone says Jasmine never rests. Such an
That is
incredible
true.
Oh my God. Never resting, never.
When she first started singing the song, I was like in such heaven. At the audition, I guess I was like, oh my gosh, I hope she can do this show. You're just amazing, Jasmine.
Jasmine, I have a question for you. You've been now a part of 2 shows that have had lives outside of Penn State. You also were a part of Love and Hate Nation. Why do you think this program is so important?
This program is beyond important because it gives you a chance as an artist to truly create. I feel like as a young artist, all young artists, you know, we take from what's around us, but there isn't always an opportunity for us to truly build something from the ground up. And with this program that John has brought to Penn State, it gives us this chance to explore and really make something of our own. Not only is that important for us just as artists, but as humans too, to be able to have that passion and that power. It's so special.
And I know both of your professional credits you would not have without this program. So it speaks for itself, the connections it's making for people.
Absolutely, 1000%.
Awesome. Well, we do have another song tonight, so we'd love to know a little bit about Yeah before we see it.
Sure. So as Joe has just said, the name of the second song is Yeah, and it's the moment when Princess Vocal Fry, actually when it's a meet and greet trio between Princess Vocal Fry, her true love Lucky, and her father, the tyrant, King Ambrose. And basically, just to set it up, what's just happened before the song starts is that Vocal Fry has confessed to her father that she's fallen in love. And when she starts describing who she's fallen in love with, the king is like, that sounds like that baby I murdered like 18 years ago. Could be. But when the baby comes in, when the grown man comes in, he knows for a fact that it is that baby because his skin is glowing, it's radioactively glowing, and his eyes are shooting laser beams, since he sort of floating around in that nuclear waste so many years ago. And so he realized that he's got a big problem. So without further ado, the fantastic Kate Fahey as the completely ditzy yet sharp attack Princess Vocal Fry, the fantastic Aidan Cole as a deliciously wicked King Ambrose, and the utterly adorable Malik Babru as the utterly adorable Lucky Boy.
Here they
I want to clarify one thing. The song's not called Yeah. It's called Yeah.
And you'll see why now. Here is Yeah.
A lucky boy who would marry the king's daughter because he was 10 times more adorable than the king. But it was impossible.
Ooh, that sounds like him now, Daddy.
No one could survive a toxic dumpster. Could they?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. The gay
queen of queens, girl. Yeah, you mutate my genes, girl. Yeah, do you know what that means, girl? Yeah.
Yeah, it means essentially you are saying that you're into me because you know our love is meant to be the hottest hot romance of the century. So pepper me, be my leopard and leopard me. I'll be your lamb, you can shepherd me. We'll be a two daily double on Jeopardy.
Your Majesty, I'd like to give a shout out to you and your wife. May her soul rest in peace, bringing V-Fry into the world.
Who?
V-Fry. Vocal Fry, your daughter. Although I don't deserve her, I'd like to ask you for her hand in marriage.
As you've all heard before, you know I'm not a person with a high tolerance level. I knew I had to find a way that I could send that lucky boy straight to the devil. I'd give permission if he'd meet my one condition. I would finance his whole wedding revel. But I'm not lying, there would be crying if it turned out like I planned, which was that soon he would be dying. I'd say, yeah, you can wed my daughter. Yeah, first you go across the water. Yeah, and bring me back 3 golden hairs from the devil's head.
3 golden hairs from the devil's head? That's all you want?
Any man who brings me 3 golden hairs from the devil's head will definitely marry my daughter. Full disclosure, certain death could be involved.
Not in a thing, king baby. Listen here. I was a youngster found inside a toxic dumpster. That's how some people deal with orphans. No, it's a miracle, the science that I haven't grown to, and there's 3 feathers and 4 fins. I ain't no stranger to a little bit of danger. I've got this love, soul, and endorphins. Heartbreak don't strain me, cruelty don't pay me. Yeah, I'll let you love this to see me. Won't be nothing to detain me. I sing, yeah. I'll get them golden hairs, king. Yeah, I'll do my golden hairs thing. Yeah, girl, take your lucky boy's ring. Yeah, it means I'm into you. And I'm sure that with the hints or 2, I'll be about to work about 10 to 2. Hey, Dad, I'm glad we have this interview. Yo, babe, I've got to go.
Don't tell her, no. Will you get those golden hairs? Will you answer all my prayers? Will you go to hell?
Yeah.
That was awesome. So here's our last question before we wrap things up. What makes this show especially different from other iconic Kirsten Childs musicals?
I call that the Passover question.
Oh, is this what made? Yes, I get it. Wow, I don't know. Each one of them I really love creating when I'm creating it. But it just really what it did was help me feel less powerless, in this time where, society is kind of ignoring certain evil, like the evils of, and these are things that I deal with in the show, the evils of undrinkable water, like the undrinkable water of Flint, Michigan, about children in cages, with parents who have the audacity to dream of a better life for their children, of people disparaging science that could actually really save the human race. This is my way of going, well, I'm going to sort of deal with those issues, have fun with it, but also hell. I don't know. I don't know if that answered your question, but that's sort of was the impetus for writing it.
I was just going to pick up on that, Kirsten, and say that, in the same spirit that I think we all tuned in last night hoping to see a debate, I think that this show is Kirsten having a debate about the very issues that we need to be struggling with and dealing with and talking about. And I think that kind of makes the topic matter so different than other things that she's written. I think it's just awesome. And then there's always some vintage Kirsten moments that you can't not fall in love with, as far as I'm concerned.
But also the students really were inspirational, you know, in the crafting of this, just sort of their being around them and being around what issues they were interested in was really helpful. So, you know, it's a collaborative thing, which musical theater is.
I should also just mention we were able to barely squeeze in a production before the shutdown. You know, we just had done. We did our year of development with the group of students for whom it was originally written, and then we did a production just this past February, and I think it closed on February 28th. So we were able to get it in under the wire, and hopefully when the world wakes up a little bit in our industry, we'll be able to restart some conversations about the future for the show.
Wow,
really
Jasmine, you had just gotten back to school after being away for Love and Hate Nation. Wow.
What? I swear, I think I lived in my house for 3 months before moving to a different place.
Wow.
Jasmine, you were awesome tonight. I can't let.
Oh my
let
God.
go by.
And I just want to also thank you, Joe and Jen, for this wonderful opportunity. This has been amazing. You cannot imagine how grateful and happy and thrilled I am. And I'm not speaking for everybody, but I think I speak for everybody about
Indeed.
that. So thank you.
Thanks for fighting the good fight about how artists can have a platform to just work and create and share their work. Thank you for doing that, and thank you for helping us with that video. It's just tremendous work that you're doing. Thanks, Joe and Jen.
And also, and thank you also for being, you know, your other work that you're doing, for your social programs and your interfacing. That's really important, and you know, I think you've been doing it for a while. So, kudos to you.
You guys are the sweetest. We love you. And we also want to call out Hector in that case, who made the video, our amazing video editor.
Yes, you're a fabulous job.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add that, you know, John said this is supposed to be fun. Theater's supposed to be fun. And I think when I had the great privilege of getting to work on Broadway, it was literally community theater with a lot more money. And
I feel the same about my Broadway experience.
We just need to remember that we do it because we love it. And when we don't, we shouldn't do it anymore. And I'm glad we get to.
But I hope we keep doing it for as long as we can.
Yeah.
That's
Fingers
right.
crossed.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Have a wonderful night. And we hope we see you soon in the show.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I think there's a marching band outside my apartment now.
Wow. Guys, Midtown Manhattan is really, really the place to be tonight.
It's hopping even during, don't believe what you hear. It's hopping during a pandemic.
All right. Well, that's our show for tonight.
Yes, we will be back next week, 7 p.m. as usual with the new musicals Salem, which Sarna Lopine will be back for, and Shapeshifters, a queer comic book musical. Sarna Lopine, yeah, as we said, who we are so excited 2 weeks in a row. It's insane.
That's right.
And we're so happy.
That's right. Salem is written by Kira Stone, and Shapeshifters, a queer comic book musical, is written by Truth Bachman and was developed by Zion Livingston. We can't wait to share these shows with you next week. Also, it takes an incredible amount of work to make tonight's show happen. And in order to continue to lift up artists and original musicals, we really need your help. So please join our generous donors by making your gift today on our website, which is tax deductible at nytheaterbarn.org/give.
Again, we are scrolling it right now, nytheaterbarn.org/give. Thank you for tuning in tonight.
And thank you for supporting live theater.
Good night.
Good night.
New York Theater Barn has provided an amazing space for the development of original new works. Not just as a woman, but as a queer woman, I've been supported at New York Theater Barn.
So I really feel thankful that I've gotten to present this, because I feel like as I've been able to take up more space in different rooms, this musical's allowed me to do that. So it's the power of new work, the magic of new work.
And wanted to say a huge thank you to Joe Barros and everyone at New York Theater Barn for being a creative home to so many artists and incubating such exciting new work.
Well, I want to thank you and Jen for having us on the show today. If I had known what goes into doing these things, I don't know what I would have thought. First of all, you two are both like Mr. Wizard. You're just unbelievable. and all of the technical stuff that is involved with putting these New Work series together and our special event tonight. It's just overwhelming and astounding. You both are phenomenal. So thank you so very much. I applaud you both. You're amazing.
Thank you for me too. Thank you for me too.